I want to get right into my position on what's happening, really not only in Minnesota, but what's happening in this nation as it pertains to immigration. Now, let me just go ahead and just say this at the outset. Um, your faith as a believer is is centered on people, loving people. How can you say you are a Christian and you love your neighbor as yourself and you hate immigrants? It's not possible. I don't even think it's even logical or even reasonable. You're a hypocrite. You know, Jesus called people hypocrites more than he called them anything else. He talked about money a lot, he talked about hell a lot, and he talked about hypocrites a lot. A lot of hypocrites are going to hell too. Now, not, a lot of y'all acting like y'all Christian, and you think that you're more of loyal to being an American than you are being part of the kingdom. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Um, when we talk about immigration and the immigration issue that's happening in the United States of America, we have to really get to the root of it. It's actually what got Donald Trump elected. He got elected because when he was coming down the escalator, he had a press conference and he said, "We're going to build a wall and we're going to kick out all of the Mexicans." But he didn't call them Mexicans. He called them drug dealers. He called them rapists. And he said, I suppose some of them are good people. That's actually called xenophobia, or rather, being xenophobic. Being xenophobic means that you are essentially racist against immigrants. Now, you are not part of America as a Christian. You are part of the kingdom. And in the kingdom, every person that you meet has value, has decency, has honor, and is someone that you are to love. Do you know, even in the Old Testament, um, I believe it's in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, the children of Israel were supposed to show love to the stranger. So an immigrant really is a stranger to America. So at the outset, for you to say that you are a believer and you have a problem with immigrants makes you a hypocritical, divided believer that don't know the roots of your faith. Now, let me go a little deeper. What is the real problem that Americans say that they have with immigrants? They say that immigrants are taking their jobs. Most of y'all lazy. Y'all don't want to work. You don't want to go to work. Most African Americans, the unemployment rate is very bad. Um, how many Americans you know that white Americans that want to go and do some of the jobs that immigrants do? Where did the immigration problem start? It started in 9/11. Now, I want you to notice that 9/11 was not centered on all immigrants. It was centered with a conflict that actually happened to be with immigrants that were in the Middle East, specifically non-Israelite immigrants, Syria, Iraq, and so forth. Now, I don't want to go into deep politics, but let me just say this. We have proof now that George Bush had no recollection or no proof that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. He was really fighting a leftover war for his father. So, really, all of us were brought on this roller coaster war against immigrants because of one Texas man who became president and him wanting to settle the issues and the affairs of his father. Now, white Americans usually feel like Americans are only white. Did you guys hear what I just said? White Americans have a mentality that America is only for Anglo-Saxon white individuals. Um, to think that America today is trying to say we want to make America great again. Which America do we want to make great again? Which America? Because the America back then was a very racist, a very white-centered society. Now, let me just go ahead and bring some balance to this because I'm not on nobody's side. I'm on the Lord's side. Now, some of the nicest people I've ever met are white people. Let me just say that. Uh, the person who's going to steal your girlfriend is a black man. If you're black, if you're black, it's not a white man who's going to steal your girlfriend. If you're black, a woman, it's you're not going to be in competition with a white girl or even a Spanish girl. It's going to be another black girl that's going to fight you. So listen, usually your problems are not with another race. It's usually with your own brother. You can ask Abel that as it pertains to Cain. So we don't really have a white and black problem. We have an Abel and Cain problem. Now, let me just say this. Let me just say this because I have a lot that I want to say. I'm going to get it off my chest and I just want to let y'all know. Americans don't want to work. When an immigrant usually comes to America, they come here to make bread. That's a fact. They come here to make some money. Whether you're Haitian, Africans, goodness. I have a daughter of mine that's in the church. She got about 85 jobs. I mean, she works morning, afternoon, evening, overnight. Usually African Americans, not all, because there's a lot of African Americans that they put in work. But welfare is mainly in the African American community, if I can be honest. The Caribbean, Latin American, African immigrant despises welfare. Matter of fact, the typical immigrant doesn't even like to even depend on the government for anything. So what are we really talking about here? Crime. Let's go there. Can I just keep it a buck with you? Now, both white people and black people are both committing crimes. Black people are committing the petty crimes, shooting your ops, drive-bys. This person was walking down the street. You looked at them wrong. In Chicago, you would get beat up or killed because of what side your hat was on. If you're in Compton or if you're in LA, depending on if you're wearing red or you're wearing blue. I'm not into the politics of gang culture. That is very deep in California. So usually, like when you talk about like black people and Latin Americans, when it comes to crime, but let's focus on black people because we're talking about Americans, whatever that means. But when you talk about Americans, black Americans are usually committing the petty crimes, but they're not usually crazy crimes. They're usually crimes. I'm not saying that it makes sense because there are senseless crimes, but usually you say, okay, this person snitched, so I'm gonna kill him. Or this person looked at me wrong, I'm gonna kill him. That's usually black crimes. African American, American black, black American, whatever that means. White people crimes are crazy crimes. Now they're the ones who's running up into movie theaters in Aurora, Colorado, and shooting up movie theaters. I have not seen one. Maybe there is not too many black people, black Americans that are running up in schools and killing children. It's usually y'all white people who's out there killing all those children. In the morning, early in the morning, you were drinking tea and watching the Brady Bunch. Oh, we don't even watch the Brady Bunch anymore. But early in the morning, you just start reading a whole bunch of what white people read, I guess, and then you go shoot up a whole bunch of kids. When was the last time that you saw an immigrant run up into a school and go kill people? You white people are some hypocrites. Let me tell you something. Y'all white people are hypocrites. Y'all white Americans are hypocrites. Y'all black Americans are hypocrites. Tell me what kind of crime that immigrants are doing in Minnesota. Now, first of all, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, I never knew. When was the last time you heard somebody that said, man, I want to get away. I want to go to Minnesota. I mean, that's just like the last place that you want to go. All right. So Minnesota has had some political issues and tension. Mainly, the Somalian politician that's in Minnesota, the woman who has been gaining a tremendous amount of influence in Minnesota. And because we have midterms that are coming up in this year, It's bringing a tremendous amount of fear in Republicans because they feel like they're going to lose possibly the midterms. And I'm not prophesying, but it doesn't take a prophet to see that Trump is pretty much messing it up for Republicans. He has to fix this immigration thing because it's obvious that at this point, your racism and your insensitivity towards immigrants, specifically the Somalians, is just out of control. It's insensitive. How can you be a Christian and you say the things that you say about Somalians? I challenge your Christianity. Now, everything came full circle with Renee Nicole Good. If I'm not mistaken, January 7th. Renee was part of a group of protesters that were doing what Americans are supposed to do. Now, what's interesting about the situation is that it's a white woman, 37-year-old white woman. We used to say that if white people would get involved with what was going on with African Americans in the civil rights movement, then we would have more momentum. We would have more momentum with black justice in America. So I want you to imagine, what does the deceased Renee Nicole Good, a white woman born in America, what correlation does she have with an immigrant? So obviously there's compassion that's there. She cares about the plight of immigrants. She finds herself protesting is legal in America. Now, Trump, my thing with President Donald Trump, he did some really good things that are pro-Christ, pro-Christian. But obviously, can I just keep it a buck with y'all? Trump ain't Christian. Listen, y'all white Christians who are on the Republican side, y'all need to go take some aspirin, some Tylenol, extra strength if you think Trump is a Christian. He's not Christian. He doesn't even say First Corinthians. He says 1 Corinthians. That already tells me that this man is not Christian. But God can use someone who's not Christian to do Christian things. I happen to believe personally, as a prophet, the shift in Trump's presidency, or at least his pursuits of becoming a president, had to do when those pastors came in, laid hands on him, and prayed for him. Because Hillary didn't do that. Hillary didn't do that. Biden definitely wasn't going to do that. This man was like, he made it a point that he's just against Christians. And Kamala wasn't doing that. So the fact that he invited pastors into his sanctum to be able to pray for him showed that there was something that God wanted to do, because God uses bold people. God uses people who are a trumpet. Interestingly enough, no pun intended, it's ironic. His name is Donald Trump, and God likes to use people who have, which is a prophetic instrument, a trumpet. So I believe that, as the prophet Kim Clement said, that this man was a trumpet from heaven. I believe that. I don't care what any pro-black pastor said. You don't pay my bills. You don't tell me what to do. I'm going to tell you what it is. Trump is more Christian in his initiatives for the church than a lot of Democratic, no good, immoral, liberal Democrats. That's just a fact. But where Trump is losing his momentum for Christian initiative is on this immigration thing. So much I have to say this. I have to really tame myself, because this stuff, I really believe it really angers God. This woman, Renee Nicole Good, gets into her car, which is not illegal, by the way, for her to block the street. It's not illegal. Definitely doesn't deserve for you to get shot. All right. So she finds herself In the car, she obviously locks the door because the ICE agent gets out the car very angry to try to open her door. Let me stop there for a second. The problem that I have, and I want you to hear what I'm about to say, is not the assignment of the ICE agents. They're doing their job. It's the attitude of the ICE agents. Communication is 10% words. The rest is non-spoken. Bro, you're getting out of your car like the woman killed your kids. Why are you so angry? What is it personal? Do you even know this woman? Where's the why are you so full of wrath? It's a spirit. It's a spirit. Because I know you guys may think this is comical, but I'm just keeping it a buck. What would America be with a whole bunch of white people? Most things that you like are colored. Let's start with music. I love Taylor Swift, but she ain't Beyonce. She's not Beyonce. I'm sorry. Where would music be without black people, Latin Americans? I mean, what would it look like for Barron Trump to go do Afro beats? I mean, it'd be crazy. Food. At some point, I don't want to eat corn casserole anymore. I don't want to eat meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and gravy that got no salt, no kind of seasoning. White people are beautiful people. They are God's creation on earth. But one of the greatest gifts to humanity in America is diversity. Is diversity. All right? Most of y'all white Republican Americans, especially y'all in the church. See, I'm gonna come after y'all. A lot of y'all Christians who say you're Republican, who your politics is against Latino people, but certainly not your dancing. Certainly not your taste of music. Certainly not your favorite athletes. Most of the athletes that you're watching are colored. Where would America be with a whole bunch of Britain, European, Anglo-Saxon? They made a movie called White Man Can't Jump because most of athletes are black. Most great music is diverse. Even fashion. As black culture goes, so goes culture in America. I've never seen a white person that sets the temperature for culture with fashion. You guys know about Kai Cenat. He went from streaming, he took a break. Some people think it's because, Shorty broke up with him or whatever, but in all reality, Kai Cenat, I think, can do whatever he wants to do whenever he wants to do it. Now he gets into fashion. I guarantee you Aiden Ross, this white boy, cannot do what Kai Cenat's doing. Why? There's something inside of people who are from different third world countries that brings flavor in fashion, in athleticism, in style. This is just a reality. This is just a reality. I believe, if I can just keep it a buck, can I just keep it a buck with y'all? Now listen, maybe this will get you guys excited. Maybe this will get you guys mad, but at least you're hearing what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm about to say. I believe there's something in a lot of white men and white women that has a tremendous amount of jealousy and envy of people who are different looking than them. For women, it could maybe be their body. For talent, it could be skills in music, athleticism. It could just be the swag, that you get in these countries. Because a lot of the times, the only opportunity you can have in life to have wealth is through things that don't have to do with intellectualism. It's these other things that brings flavor in society. What has a Somalian done to you that you have such anger against this woman who is a politician in Minneapolis? Now, we know about the Venezuelan guy who didn't die, but he got shot. Now, today, even before I got here, there's a man by the name of Alex Jeffrey Preddy, also is 37 years old, an ICU nurse from a Virginia hospital, was armed. From my understanding, Minnesota is an open carry state. So he's allowed to have a gun. Stop right there. Just like Renee Nicole Good has the right to block a street, he has a right to carry a gun. So you're not in a place or in a position or posture of threat if a man who's legally able to carry a gun has a gun. And then you lying ICE agents. You guys, I'm telling you, y'all going to hell. Y'all going to hell. Why? Because the first thing that comes from your mouth is your life was in danger. You sure were not approaching him like your life was in danger. How can your life be in danger when it's about 6 or 7 of you guys that are around this man? So you're taking lives. How can God be pleased with that? How can at one moment you care about? See, this is why, as a Christian, you cannot really fully be political. You have to be Christ-centered. Because on one end, there's a lot of things that pro-black agenda Christian pastors have that I say, man, you're definitely on point culturally, but kingdom-wise, I think you're a little off, if I could just be quite honest. But then it's moments like this that sometimes you figure, you know what? If I gotta swallow up and ignore the crazy homosexual, transgender uh, uh, um, agenda to focus on justice for people of color and immigrants, then maybe that's what I have to do, because you're making it very difficult for me to believe that you're the party that cares about Jesus, but you're killing innocent people because they're doing what they have the right to do. When you were part of the Tea Party, most of you white Christians, who was shooting y'all? Who was shooting y'all? All right. Now, I disagree with what that group did when they went into that church on Sunday and disturbed that church service. Don Lemon, I don't know. Okay, let me just say this. This is for entertainment purposes. Okay, let me just say this. Don Lemon, you lying, because you cannot say you went there as a reporter. You didn't go there as a reporter. You went there as a disruptor. That's my personal opinion. Why do I think that? Because you have to you have to help me to understand. First of all, somebody had to have communicated, because you don't live in Minnesota. So somebody communicated to you to come to Minnesota. You knew what church to go to. You knew they were going to go into a church. You were outside. Now, I did my research and I saw that there was actually a lawyer that was part of. There was actually a few legal individuals or lawyers, attorneys, very high level people in society that were part of this so-called protesting group. Now, there's actually a discussion that's going on whether Don Lemon is going to be, put in jail on federal charges, but that's neither here nor there. But let me just say this. I disagree with going into a church and stopping and disrupting what happened there. But let me just say this. One thing I found out about the issue that happened at that church, it stood out to me, is that the pastor was not only a pastor, but he was an ICE agent. Now, I'm not mad at him because, listen, I don't believe it's wrong for you to do your job as a federal ICE agent. When you're a father, you're a husband, do what you got to do to make your money. I mean, there's a whole bunch of rappers who are glorifying selling drugs and then we glorify that just so that they can make money. You got to do what you got to do. That's just the reality. Here's a problem that I have. Or actually, not the problem that I have, but a thought that I have. And I want to leave you with this, the last couple of minutes that I have. I go back and forth because when I think about it, yes, I don't like the idea of going into a church and normalizing that, but I don't believe they would go into any church. I think they had a problem with this pastor saying that he was a pastor who loves Jesus, but is openly supporting being racist against immigrants. It's like the whole suing thing. You shouldn't sue a Christian, but if the Christian ain't acting Christian, am I really suing a Christian? This issue is something that we're going to be talking about all throughout the year. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I believe this issue is what's exposing the Republican Party. It's exposing the new racism today. It's not against black people anymore. Because, even some of you black people are some of the most hypocritical, two-faced, ungrateful, no good individuals. Because you understand bigotry, racism, unfair treatment, and injustice. And yet you have African American Christians, emphasize Christians, who will say, kick out those immigrants. Where are you from? Where are you from? All black African Americans are called African Americans for a reason. Your homeland is Africa. I believe God righteously hates this whole thing. And I believe if the Republicans don't stop, it will cost them the midterms. New York Times wrote it, but I want to say it prophetically. I'm telling you right now that God is angry about this. He's furious about this. It's demonic. It's a hidden demonic agenda. And I'm praying that God would cause for there to be a stillness throughout this country. I'm praying that there would be more humanity, a humane heart towards this. One more thing I want to share with this. Christians, white Christians, Republican Christians, who have a problem with sanctuary cities. Our faith is built on the idea, the concept of a sanctuary. What is a sanctuary? It's somewhere that's safe. If you're mad at me, Republican Christians, be mad at me. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to be a voice. It used to be that Christians, or rather immigrants, would be safe if they go into a sanctuary city. Now it's not safe to be anywhere. It's not even safe to be in New York. I leave you with this. An old woman who barely speaks English raised a child, never committed a crime, loves everybody in her community, is from a different country. What threat does she have to you in America? What threat does that woman have to you? You guys are the most sorry excuse of a Christian, I think, in the United States of America. I think the worst thing to do right now is to say you are a Christian without a deep explanation. Because nowadays, the devil is trying to make Christians look like Trump, and Trump ain't Christian. His wife ain't Christian. His kids ain't Christian. None of y'all Christian. God can use a donkey. He can use Trump. I'm praying. Matter of fact, I want us to pray right now. I want us to pray right now. Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for the old woman who is afraid to even go to church because some angry ICE agent might arrest her and kill her. I pray for the man that has broken English, whether he's Latino or he's Haitian or he's African or from any part of the world. Father, that came to this country just to be able to make ends meet and is afraid that he may get pulled out of his comfortable life. I pray for the child that may lose their aunt, their uncle, their grandfather, their grandmother, their father, their brother, their mother, their sister, simply because of the lies that are being said from Washington. Karoko vasiakata. Father, I'm asking for your mercy, your hand. This is the year of the hand of God. May your hand interrupt and disrupt this injustice that's on this earth. There's blood that's crying out on the soil of this country, and I'm asking avenge it. In the name of Jesus, we give you glory, we give you praise. In Jesus' name, amen. It's the prophet. God bless.